Okay, today we're going to be talking about our pharyngeal muscles, muscles of the pharynx. We're going to focus on where they are in the body, their actions and innervations. It's a muscular tube that basically plays a role in respiratory and digestive systems, so they help move food from the mouth into the esophagus. They are all right there. So there's two main groups. We're going to focus first on the constrictor muscles, which are also called the external circular muscles. They form the outer layer of the pharynx, which on this picture is going to be this left side. There are three pharyngeal constrictor muscles. Let's talk about them. They're going to be all on this side. So we have this line right here is going to be the superior pharyngeal constrictor. This line right here, so that muscle is going to be the middle pharyngeal constrictor. And this line right here, we've got that muscle, is going to be the inferior pharyngeal constrictor. As you can see, they're kind of stacked like cups, so the inferior kind of goes over the middle, and the middle kind of goes over the superior. During swallowing, these muscles constrict 1, 2, 3, kind of in a sequential order to help move food down the throat towards the esophagus, kind of like a wave. Now we're going to talk about this superior pharyngeal constrictor. First, let's put the label on there. It's going to originate from the pterygoid hamulus and the posterior end of the myohyaloid line of the mandible. It's going to insert on the pharyngeal tubercle on the basilar part of the occipital bone. This superior pharyngeal constrictor is innervated by the vagus nerve, also cranial nerve number 10. Main action is constrict the walls of the upper pharynx during swallowing. The middle constrictor now, we're going to talk about that, so let's label it. Bring this out here. Middle pharyngeal constrictor. It's going to originate on the stylohyaloid ligament and the greater and lesser horns of the hyoid bone, and it's going to insert on the pharyngeal raphe, and it's also going to overlap the superior pharyngeal constrictor just a little bit. As you can see right there. It's innervated by the vagus nerve as well, and its function is to continue the constriction of the pharynx, moving the food downward during swallowing. Next, we're going to talk about the inferior pharyngeal constrictor, this muscle. It is the lowest part of the pharyngeal constrictors. So first, let's label it. This one, the constrictors does not insert on the pharyngeal raphe, which is this right here. The inferior pharyngeal constrictor is going to insert on the oblique line of thyroid cartilage and on the side of the cricoid cartilage. Its innervation is going to be the vagus nerve, and it's also still going to constrict walls of the pharynx while swallowing. So just to go over, all actions of the constrictors are going to be to constrict the walls of the pharynx. All innervations are going to be the vagus nerve. The superior pharyngeal constrictor is going to originate on the pterygoid hamulus. The pterygomandibular raphe. It's going to insert on the pharyngeal tubercle on the basilar part of the occipital bone. The middle pharyngeal constrictor is going to originate in the stylohyoid ligament and the greater and lesser horns of the hyoid, which I think you can see right there. And then it's going to insert on the pharyngeal raphe right there. And then, yes, we just went over the inferior pharyngeal, but just to go over it again, it's going to originate on the oblique line of the thyroid cartilage, which will be over there. And it's going to insert on the cricopharyngeal part of the end circles. Now we're going to talk about the longitudinal muscles of the pharynx. They're basically going to be looking at this side. There are three longitudinal muscles: the palatopharyngeus, the salpingopharyngeus, and the stylopharyngeus. They help elevate the larynx and shorten and widen the pharynx during swallowing and speaking. We're going to start with the palatopharyngeus muscle, which is going to be this. Let's label it. It's going to originate from the hard palate and the palatine aponeurosis, and it's going to insert on the posterior border of the lamina of the thyroid cartilage and the side of the pharynx and esophagus. This innervation is going to be the vagus nerve, and it's going to elevate the pharynx, which will basically shorten and widen the pharynx and larynx during swallowing and speaking. Next, we're going to be talking about the salpingopharyngeus, this muscle right there. Let's go ahead and label it. This muscle is going to originate on the cartilaginous part of the pharyngotympanic tube, which is also known as the auditory tube. It's going to insert by just blending in with the palatopharyngeus, as you can kind of see here. And it is also innervated by the vagus nerve and will help elevate, shorten, and widen the pharynx and larynx during swallowing and speaking. Last but not least, we're going to talk about the stylopharyngeus, which is this muscle right there, and also this muscle if we're looking at the other side on the outside. This is how you spell it. It's going to originate on the styloid process of the temporal bone, and it's going to insert on the posterior superior borders of the thyroid cartilage with this palatopharyngeus. So this would basically probably be the thyroid cartilage. This one is different though, innervation-wise. It is the only pharynx muscle to be innervated by something other than the vagus nerve, and it is innervated by the glossopharyngeal nerve, which is cranial nerve number 9. Main action though, it's going to do the same thing as all these three muscles. It's going to elevate, shorten, and widen the pharynx and larynx during swallowing and speaking. Basically, to wrap it up, the longitudinal muscles are going to shorten, elevate, and widen the pharynx so food can move through it, while the circular muscles are going to basically contract step by step to move the food bolus down. And that is the pharyngeal muscles. Another quick thing to go over is the gag reflex, which is going to involve those muscles, but the vagus nerve, the pharyngeal part of the vagus nerve, will be doing the motor part, creating the gag, while the glossopharyngeal will be doing the sensory part of the gag reflex. If the innervation isn't working well, you can get food stuck in the throat, and that can cause difficulty breathing. It can also cause vomiting, which we just want to avoid altogether.